The crystal glasses clinked mockingly as I balanced the silver tray through my mother's crowded ballroom. The annual Hawthorne Charity Gala was in full swing, with Manhattan's elite dressed in their finest, sipping champagne worth more than a month's rent. "Emma darling, be careful with those glasses. They're baccarat," Mom called out, her voice carrying that familiar note of disappointment. She stood in her element, draped in a custom Valentino gown, orchestrating her social symphony. I adjusted my simple black dress, chosen specifically not to outshine the guests, and continued serving drinks. The irony of the situation would have made me laugh if it weren't so calculated. "Look at Emma playing waitress," my sister Olivia stage whispered to her circle of socialite friends. She always did have modest ambitions. I kept my face neutral as I offered champagne to another cluster of guests. My phone vibrated in my pocket, but I couldn't check it yet. Timing was everything tonight. Mrs. Hawthorne, a board member from Mount Sinai Hospital, approached my mother. "Extraordinary party as always. Though I must ask, isn't that your younger daughter serving drinks?" Mom's practiced laugh tinkled like the crystal in my hands. "Emma insists on, how does she put it? Learning the business from the ground up. Though heaven knows why she can't focus on proper work like her sister. Olivia just made junior partner at Goldman Sachs." I moved through the crowd, catching snippets of conversations about mergers, acquisitions, and summer homes in the Hamptons. My phone buzzed again, the second signal. "At least she's good at something," Olivia smirked as I passed. "The service industry suits her artistic temperament." The television screens mounted around the ballroom played a muted financial news channel, part of Mom's elaborate show of wealth and connection to the business world. I checked my watch. 8:59 p.m. "Emma." Mom's sharp voice cut through the murmur of conversation. "The governor needs a fresh drink. Do try not to embarrass me." I made my way to the governor, who barely glanced at me as he handed over his empty glass. My phone vibrated a third time, the final warning. "You know," Olivia's voice rose deliberately, "some people are just meant for simpler things. Not everyone can handle the pressures of real success." 9 p.m. The television screens suddenly switched from muted market updates to breaking news. The anchor's voice cut through the party's gentle symphony of self-congratulation. "Breaking news. Forbes magazine reveals their new cover story, The Silent Titan, How Emma Hawthorne Built a $12 billion Empire in Secret." The champagne tray slipped from Olivia's fingers, shattering on the marble floor as my photo filled every screen in the ballroom. "Sources confirm," the anchor continued, "that Global, the mysterious company behind this year's biggest tech acquisitions, is run by 29-year-old Emma Hawthorne, making her the world's youngest female billionaire." The ballroom fell silent. Mom's perfect posture faltered as she stared at the screens, her champagne flute frozen halfway to her lips. "The company's revolutionary AI-driven investment platform," the reporter continued, "has quietly acquired controlling interests in over 200 companies worldwide. Sources say major banks, including Goldman Sachs, have been unknowingly working with algorithms designed by Ms. Hawthorne herself." Olivia's face drained of color as she realized her junior partnership had been approved by her sister's technology. My phone rang, not a text this time. The governor pulled out his phone simultaneously, then looked at me with new eyes as he read the caller ID. "Ms. Hawthorne," he said, his tone transformed from dismissive to deferential, "I believe we're both needed on a call with the Treasury Secretary." Mom's glass joined Olivia's on the floor as the screens showed footage of my company's holdings, skyscrapers, tech campuses, and research facilities around the world. While maintaining complete anonymity, the anchor explained, "Ms. Hawthorne has built the most sophisticated financial technology platform in history. Global's AI systems now process 40% of global trading volume." I finally set down my serving tray, pulling a small tablet from my pocket. The room watched in stunned silence as I pulled up the evening's trading reports with a few quick gestures. "Emma," Mom whispered, her voice unsteady, "what have you done?" "Business, Mother," I replied calmly, accepting the Treasury Secretary's call. "From the ground up, just like you said." The ballroom screens switched to live footage of stock tickers, all showing companies controlled by Global. My companies. Above them, the Forbes cover photo showed me in this same simple black dress with the headline, "The Waitress Who Owns Wall Street." Now, I said, addressing the silent room of Manhattan's elite, shall we discuss the real purpose of tonight's charity gala? I believe my company's matching donation program might interest you all. The governor nodded eagerly while Mom sank into the nearest chair, her perfect party imploding around her. Olivia stood frozen, her phone pinging with notifications as news of her junior partnership's true nature spread through Goldman Sachs. I smiled, stepping away to take the Treasury Secretary's call. Behind me, I could hear the whispers beginning, the power dynamics of the room shifting like tectonic plates. The night was still young and I had an empire to run. The next 30 minutes transformed my mother's carefully orchestrated gala into barely controlled chaos. Wall Street executives who had ignored me all evening now hovered anxiously, their phones buzzing with urgent messages from their boards. The Treasury Secretary sends his regards, I said, ending the call. The governor stood nearby, practically bouncing on his feet for a chance to speak with me. And yes, Governor Matthews, I'd be happy to discuss the state's technology infrastructure upgrade over lunch next week. Emma, darling. Mom's voice wavered as she approached, her perfect makeup unable to hide her shock. Why didn't you tell us? Before I could answer, the screens flashed with more breaking news. The CNN anchor's voice filled the ballroom. In a stunning revelation, Global's influence extends far beyond Wall Street. The company's AI systems have revolutionized everything from healthcare delivery to urban planning. Sources confirm that Emma Hawthorne has been anonymously driving global innovation while maintaining a deliberately low profile. Olivia's designer clutch hit the floor as security footage appeared on screen. Footage of me entering my real office, the entire top floor of a building her firm had tried unsuccessfully to acquire last month. That's impossible, she whispered. We lost that bid to you? The Morrison building? I smiled, pulling up its details on my tablet. Actually, I own the whole block now. Your firm's lease comes up for renewal next quarter. The screen switched to aerial views of my company's holdings. Sprawling tech campuses, research facilities, and the world's most advanced data centers. All acquired quietly while I played the role my family had cast me in. But you serve drinks, Mom protested weakly, watching as the estimated value of my empire ticked upward on the financial tickers. You live in that small apartment. That small apartment is a testing ground for our smart living technology, my assistant Jennifer explained, materializing beside me with a stack of contracts. The entire building is a prototype for Global's urban development division. Ms. Hawthorne, a Wall Street Journal reporter pushed forward. Sources say you've been secretly controlling major market movements for months. How did you maintain anonymity? I gestured to my simple dress and lack of jewelry. It's amazing how invisible you can be when people choose not to really see you. Mom flinched at the subtle rebuke, no doubt remembering countless dismissive comments about my modest lifestyle. The World Economic Forum is calling, Jennifer informed me, holding out a secure phone. They want to move up your keynote address. Keynote address? Olivia's voice cracked. She'd been trying to get an invitation to Davos for years. Among other commitments, I replied, scanning through notifications. The UN Sustainability Council meeting is tomorrow, followed by lunch with the Fed chair. The ballroom screens now showed a map of my company's global influence. AI systems managing everything from traffic flows to power grids, all operating quietly in the background while the world's elite remained oblivious to their creator. But what about the family business? Mom stammered, clutching her pearls. Your father always wanted. Check your portfolio, Mother, I suggested gently. Global acquired controlling interest in Dad's company 6 months ago. We've doubled its value since then. The screens confirmed my statement, showing the spectacular rise in their company's stock since my quiet intervention. Dad's heart attack last year had left Mom in charge, and she'd been struggling, not that she'd ever admit it or accept help from her underachieving daughter. Those board meetings you've been having trouble with? I continued, watching comprehension dawn on her face. Our AI has been sending you optimization suggestions through that consulting firm you hired. Olivia's phone rang, her boss at Goldman Sachs, no doubt realizing that his junior partner's sister now effectively controlled their biggest accounts. Ms. Hawthorne, the governor interrupted urgently, about that state infrastructure contract. My office will contact you tomorrow, I assured him, then turned back to my family. Now about this gala. I pulled up the charity's financial records on my tablet. The Hawthorne Foundation's endowment seems a bit underfunded. Shall we do something about that? With a few taps, I authorized a donation that made Mom's annual fundraising goal look like pocket change. The ballroom erupted in applause as the total appeared on the screens. Emma, Mom whispered, tears threatening her perfect mascara. All this time, I confirmed softly, I was building something bigger than anyone's expectations. The screens switched to live footage of the stock exchange, where overnight trading in Asia was already responding to the news of my empire's revelation. Another fortune made while the party's guests watched in stunned silence. Now, I said, straightening my simple dress, I believe I have some drinks to serve. After all, appearances must be maintained. I picked up my serving tray once more, but now every guest watched with new understanding as Manhattan's most powerful woman played waitress at her mother's party. Behind me, I heard Olivia's designer heels click rapidly across the marble floor, no doubt heading to make damage control calls to her suddenly insignificant business contacts. The night was far from over and I had so many more surprises in store. Dawn broke over Manhattan as the last guests departed, leaving the ballroom eerily quiet. Mom sat at a corner table, staring at her phone displaying endless news articles about her younger daughter's empire. The car's waiting, I said softly, approaching her. Would you like a ride home? In your car? She asked, attempting a weak smile. Not a bus this time? The transportation division uses my commutes to test new technologies, I explained. But tonight I think we need to talk privately. In the backseat of my hybrid Maybach, Mom finally broke. We were so wrong about you, Emma. All these years. It was never about proving you wrong, I interrupted gently. It was about proving myself right. Your father would have been so proud, she whispered, dabbing at her eyes. He knew, I revealed, watching her head snap up in surprise. That last week in the hospital I told him everything. He died knowing his company would be safe in my hands. The car stopped at her penthouse, but she didn't move to get out. What happens now? Now. I smiled, showing her the morning's headlines on my tablet. Now we build something together. The Hawthorne Foundation has potential, but it needs vision. Real impact, not just society parties. You want to work with me? After how we treated you? Family is family, I said simply. Besides, Olivia's going to need a new job after Goldman realizes her division's been made obsolete by my AI. Mom actually laughed. A real laugh, not her society tinkle. You're terrible. I'm efficient, I corrected. Speaking of which, there's a board meeting at 9. Your company's board, technically my company's board now. Care to join me? She straightened her shoulders, years of business instincts kicking in. Will I need to serve drinks? No, Mother, I smiled, helping her out of the car. But I hear the view from my office is better than the country clubs. As we rode up to my penthouse office, Mom asked one final question. Why tonight? Why reveal everything at my gala? Because, I said, watching the sun rise over my city, sometimes the best success stories begin with a shattered champagne glass and a mother's realization that her daughter was never serving drinks, she was serving a vision. The elevator doors opened to my empire and together we stepped into a new dawn.